Hello and thanks for watching this Cloud9 ERP Solutions video and subscribing to our YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to talk about the ability to set up a system email account in Acumatica, but to use OAuth 2 instead of basic authentication. Basic authentication in Office 365 and many other email platforms is being deprecated or discontinued as time goes on. So you're going to need to start considering this before it expires. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you have access to your Azure portal. So portal.azure.com. You're the admin. You can log in and you can get into all of your information, your users and groups and everything. Now, a lot of you may be familiar with admin.microsoft.com where you can see users and you can check your licensing and all that. All of that's fine, but you're going to need the portal.azure.com in order to add an app registration. And that's what we're going to be doing here. So the first thing we want to do is go to System Email Accounts. We'll create an email account. So we'll give it a description. And we'll give it an email address. This would be the email address that you plan to use. Email service plugin we don't use. That's for SendGrid. If you check our YouTube channel out, you'll see we have a video on how to use SendGrid. And then the incoming mail protocol, you have POP and IMAP. For the purposes of a system email account where you're essentially singularly downloading to Acumatica. You're not using this email account for other things. POP could probably be just fine. IMAP allows you to download messages partially and read part of it. IMAP allows more than one device to download emails at the same time. So IMAP is a little bit more sophisticated, but a lot of that functionality is not necessarily needed for this. So you can use either one. The other thing is IMAP supports multiple folders. Again, also not a big deal, but it's something that you can consider and you can value that out there on the internet. There's plenty of articles on the differences. But in this case, we're going to choose IMAP. Our incoming mail server is going to be outlook.office365.com. And our outgoing mail server will be the same except SMTP. SMTP is the mail protocol. We use IMAP and POP for sending or receiving, emails. And SMTP is what you use to send the messages out. Okay. So we're going to change this to OAuth 2. And then we're going to choose an external application in Acumatica. And we don't have an external application yet. We need to create one. So let's go out and start that process. So in Acumatica, you can select any kind of connector that you have. There's a default in here for online SMTP IMAP POP3. So you can use that. You can create different ones here. So what is the type? These are the different types that you have. So there's built-in ones for Google, there's built-in ones for Exchange Online, and there's other things for Power BI and stuff. So this is fine, but this client ID and secret are not going to work. So let's create our own. We'll choose the Exchange Online. We'll give it an application name. That's our demo site. And then the client ID and this client secret, that we're going to get from registering our app here. So we go into app registrations. And we'll create a brand new registration. And this will be whatever we want it to be called. You may have multiple app registrations in your Azure, or you don't have any at all. You can leave this as the default. Again, this works fine for this purpose. If you have additional questions, you can click on the Help Me Choose. For the redirect, we can select web and then take this email address and paste it here. And then we can click register. For the client ID, we can take that from here. You'll notice there's a little copy to clipboard. We can click on that and then paste it here. And then for the client secret, we go over here to certificates and secrets. We add a new client secret. We can give it a description, but this is just going to be the default. We can give it an expiration date. Now, in the past, Microsoft has given you infinite number of months here. Looks like they stopped doing that. So you have to put this on your calendar. And when this client secret expires in 24 months or prior to that, you're going to want to come back here and add a new certificate that hasn't expired. So we'll say 24 months. We'll click add. And now what you get here is this value. There's a secret ID and a value. We want the value. We'll click copy here. We'll put that in there and paste it. And we'll save it. And then what we'll do is we'll go back to our system email account. We'll select our email connector. And then what we need is our Azure Tenant ID. Azure Tenant ID comes from the top of Azure. So for example, if we go back to our home and we go to Azure, you can see your tenant ID is right here at the beginning of the overview. We'll copy that, we'll paste it. We can save at this point, just to get that saved. As we scroll down, we can select SSL incoming server requires encrypted connection. So we can do that. That'll change our port to 993. I don't know if that's required, but it's something that works well for me. The outgoing server encrypted connection is TLS. That changes that IP port, that TCP IP port. And we could save that as well. And now notice what you have here. You'll see there's a sign-in button. The sign-in button shows in both places. If I refresh this, you can see it there. You can see it here. And what we want to do now is we want to sign in to the account that's responsible for this support 123 cloud9erp.com. So we'll click on the sign-in button. We'll enter our credentials. Again, this is the account we initially need to log into so that it uses this inbox rather than anybody else's. We can accept the permissions. And then we can hit the test button. So we got a success here. Now the next step, really, in order to make sure that it's working, is we could try to maybe retrieve some emails, maybe send out some emails. So we can say receive all. And we can go to a couple of places in Acumatica, but we can go to all emails. And there's going to be some other emails. This is our demo system. We can go to the incoming email box and we can see there's a couple of emails that came in. One of them is a reply from myself about a support issue that's solved. The other one is the test message we just sent. Let's open this one up. And you can see the message, originally support, sent out a message, please verify it's working. And my reply was, thanks for the assistance. I could reply again from support. And send it out. Now, if we go back to all emails and we go to outgoing, and we scroll over, this is the outgoing message. Notice it's pending processing. because our system email account isn't going to send it out automatically. There's ways to do that. We could schedule it. But in this case, to test it, I'm going to go here and click Send All. I go back to all emails and I refresh. I can see that this email is processed and it was sent out. Now, again, if you go into automation schedules, you can schedule this system email account to automatically sync every couple of minutes. We also have the ability to send out emails immediately. So this is in a previous video, but if you go to email preferences, you have an option here. So you don't have to schedule those to go out on a schedule, but you would still schedule for receiving nonetheless. So that's it. That's setting up your email so that you no longer use basic authentication. Instead, you're using OAuth 2.0. You'll configure your external application in Acumatica. You'll tie it in with your system email here. You'll throw in your Azure tenant ID. You'll create your external application using the information from an app registration here. You put in the return URL. And then you'll tie all that back into your system email account, adding your Azure tenant ID. So if you have any questions about this or anything else Acumatica, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks again and for subscribing to our YouTube channel, and have a great day.